Alright guys, TJHaLy here again today, and to continue the post-CWL Miami content, yesterday we talked about what exactly is wrong with OpTic Gaming right now, and you guys had some very interesting assessments in the comment section below, so thank you very much for that. Today I wanted to talk more in detail, really, about the SMG meta that we have right now, and the changes that have happened after Anaheim into Miami, and how that is, I think, affecting some teams quite significantly, and why going into the World Championship we may have to reconsider our assessment of some of these teams, and these teams individually may have to reconsider how their own team is set up, because the last thing you want to do with the Call of Duty Championship around the corner is realise that you have peaked too early, which may be the case for 100 Thieves, of course, a fantastic team, and some other teams as well that we'll look at here that I think have been affected by the SMG meta, and I'm sure you guys will leave your thoughts in the comment section below as always. So yeah, like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it, and let's hop into a few things that I thought you guys would enjoy before we hop into that type of content. So we have here from Round 11 Stats, just talking about the CWL Miami records. So we had Slacked at 43 kills and a hardpoint, Slasher won the control kills, and the S&D damage as well. Sim got the most S&D kills, I think he went 17 and 4 one map, I forget exactly who it was against, and Formula the highest damage at 7,500 and a control, I believe, against units in the very first game of the tournament, and Alex also, you know, topping up the hardpoint damage as well. So I thought you guys would enjoy those stats, and it kind of leads into what I want to say here about, in the series that LG looked very good, it tended to be honest, Slacked and John. Yes, Formula had some great maps, yes, Skies had some really highlight moments, yes, Brack had some great times as well, but it was Slacked and John that at times had really great performances, and that was in the series where they were looking good. When those guys slowed down a bit, we saw what happened, and of course they come top 6. So that's the direction I want to take this video in. But a few other things I thought you might find interesting. This is the highest earning console players of all time, filtered by current Call of Duty players. So I think the reason why Hook is so high here is because he has a lot of winnings from Halo. So this isn't all necessarily Call of Duty winnings. So some of Crim's winnings here maybe from when he used to play Halo. Same with Enable, possibly same with Formula as well. So I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, Karma leads it up. I thought you guys would find this somewhat interesting at the very least. Karma and Crimsix edging towards $1 million, but who will reach it first? We'll have to see if anyone ever does, which I guess they will at some point. So yeah, this is also very interesting. I saw this on Reddit. I'll leave this linked down below. Going back to Black Ops 2, here's the last time a player won a championship. So this was obviously made on the day that United won the championship, but I thought you guys would find this interesting. So some individual players, it goes back quite a way here. So of course we have 226 days ago, the Las Vegas Open, which OpTic Gaming won, so a long time ago now. That's the last time, of course, those players won an event. Back to Fort Worth as well. We have some big name players here. Zero hasn't got the zero capitalized, but we'll forgive the guy. He did some quality research here. And yeah, Bands, Madcat, Jerd Zero, that stage 1 team 786 days ago. Of course, Clayster was sitting right around here at 1400 days before he won his most recent one, which of course is just surpassed by Sharp, Goonless, Goonjar, Nameless, and Parasite. Nade Shots chilling here as well. And the lowest one on the list is Big Timer. 2,396 days ago his last event win was, which is a fair time ago, but I thought you guys would enjoy that. Moving onwards very briefly here then, we have the, these are the statistics for the Pro League playoffs, and this is quite interesting. So overall peak 82,000, which I guess includes both streams. So the most popular match just about was OpTic Gaming LG in the very first round. In fact, OpTic Gaming 100 Thieves barely had any viewers, because what I noticed in this one was that, like, after OpTic went down 2-0, a lot of people were like, understandably so, it's chalked, get me out the stream. So yeah, OpTic match was nearly overtaken by the grand finals here, but still, the viewership is not that impressive, right? I was talking about it in the esports bubble video I did a few days ago now. Like, how are they justifying a $25 million investment per spot in a league that gets this kind of viewership? It's not exactly tragic viewership, but it's the correlation to me doesn't seem to be there between the amount of viewers we get and the amount of money people are putting in. But maybe you guys see things a little bit differently to me. This was another interesting tweet I saw. Gen.G is opening an LA training facility and it looks gorgeous. So we heard a couple of weeks ago, or a few days ago, whenever I lose track of time, that Gen.G were interested in getting another Los Angeles spot for, because OpTic Gaming have a spot for the Franchise League next season. Evil Geniuses said they're not going to even look into it. Gen.G apparently fancy another LA spot, which I don't know if they're going to allow another one, Activision, but they have set up a training facility in LA, and it does look fantastic. And also, they hashtag Call of Duty, which may be a key point here. So, I mean, it looks phenomenal. You guys can see the pictures for yourselves. This facility will be a permanent home for their CoD, Apex Legends, and Fortnite teams. When it says permanent, that doesn't sound like a couple of months. That sounds like much longer. So it sounds like they're very heavily invested here in getting a spot in the Franchise League. And also, I believe the guy at Heretics that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, I forget exactly his name, but he tweeted out 80-20, implying that even Heretics getting their spot is more and more likely. So let's move onwards. Now, post-Miami, Temp tweets the following: hit scan Don bro, Sorg is the best gun in the game, and apparently he is switching back to a Sorg, which is interesting to me because Jerd, of course, has not been having the best couple of events. He's been very vocal about that on Twitter. I think in a deleted tweet he did, after Miami, saying he's just playing horribly. But I can't really see Jerd moving off the SMG, you know what I mean? Like, who can temp on the SMGs would be crazy, but of course, there's no way Jerd's not on the SMG, right? So I think Jerd will stay on it, and then if Temp's coming back, then maybe Hook uses a Maddox, which would be interesting to me, but I just thought I'd bring that to your guys' attention. This is the same tweet we already looked at. Let's have a look at this then. These, of course, are the placings at CWL Miami. Let's have a look at this through the lens of who has the best SMGs in the game. We can start from the bottom. So Evil Geniuses, right now, their SMGs are pretty much Apathy and Exotic, and I honestly think they are a better team than this placing suggests. They got, in my opinion, kind of unlucky because they lost to Reciprocity, who are a very solid team initially, and then they got beaten by 100 Thieves in a very close Game 5, so difficult exactly to say that these guys are 10th best team in the world, but they're probably in and around this mark. And, you know, if you look at their team, Attach was really the only standout here. He played fantastic. The rest of the guys didn't do that much, even though Apathy had his moments. And towards the end of the year, Apathy tends to be pretty damn good anyway. Now, Heretics, of course, they come top 10 as well. They have a pretty damn decent SMG duo, but their entire team is very talented, but it's difficult to predict these guys to go far in tournaments. They're still pretty inconsistent. Next up, we have OpTic. Now, Scump and TJ on paper should be a filthy SMG duo. This tournament, obviously, it didn't work out for them. We talked about that yesterday, but I thought maybe we can go into I thought, you know, there's no point expanding onto that in too much greater depth here. Now, Splice had Jerd and Hook, which should on paper be fantastic for the SMGs, but Jerd really hasn't been playing particularly well. I think Hook was still pretty good this event, and you know, they lost that series to Reciprocity to lose out in the tournament. Top 8 isn't tragic, but it's not great by any means. So, you know, I wonder what you guys think about this. What I was really getting to here is these 6th place teams, these 100 Thieves and Luminosity Gaming squads. Now, LG, when they first formed, I was talking about in the video I made that they will be, because we're moving, or the rumours I heard at the time, which turned out to be true, to this more SMG meta, where the SMGs, or the Sorgs, if you guys aren't aware, now are no longer a hit scan. So that, or they are now a hit scan, they're no longer projectile. So that's what the marksman Temp was getting out in this tweet, saying hit scan Don, because now the Sorg is a hit scan weapon, so your bullets will hit the target immediately, like all the other weapons in the game, or at least the assault rifles and the LMGs and those sort of things, and the snipers. They were a hit scan for the SMGs from the start, and now they've changed that, and now the SMGs are being used a lot. You guys may have seen on some maps, Frequency especially, we're seeing like 3 Sorgs, 1 Maddox, 1 ICR, something like that. That's a very common setup right now. So a 3 Sorg setup is very common. Maybe that's what Temp is leaning towards when he's saying, you know, back on a Sorg, because on a map like Frequency, Jerd, Temp, and Hook could all be on the Sorgs. And I think you saw that really to the greatest effect this weekend with Team Reciprocity. We saw a couple of times on that Frequency map having Dylan, unbelievable, Zed, and Alex all on the Sorgs running at you. That is disgusting. And, you know, I think Reciprocity for that kind of map have one of the best teams to do that in the entire game. And I think that really did spur some of their success this weekend, because they had a pretty difficult run, because they started from all the way back in the top 10 position, beating Evil Geniuses, then beating Splice, then taking down Luminosity. So, you know, a pretty decent run from them, all things considered, and I think it is largely off the back of what their SMGs were able to do. Now, we look at 100 Thieves. Enable and Priestahh are the SMGs, and if you wanted to pull out a third one, who would you make do it? Obviously, it's not going to be Octane, who didn't really have a great tournament by any means here. It's not going to be Slasher, and, like, you would say Kenny, but he doesn't like the Sorg. And I don't really think that 100 Thieves can get away with a 3-Sorg setup anyway. So maximum they've got to go 2 Sorgs. And in terms of, you know, a powerhouse SMG duo, let's look up to the top here. You know, the top 2 teams of the tournament, the grand finalists, who seem, to be honest, to be, especially on the Sunday, significantly better than all the other competition. We have eUnited, aBeZy and Sim. Filthy, unbelievable level of performance, and Priestahh as well can use an SMG whenever he likes as well, so they have the ideal setup, I think, right now for a successful team in this meta. Gen.G as well are pretty damn good. They've got Envoy and Havoc, really, really good, and Maniac, and the rest of the guys are very, very fast players overall anyway, so even if, you know, Havoc and Envoy, even if they don't really have a third Sorg, which isn't necessary, as long as the rest of your team is very, very quick to keep up with the pacing of your Sorgs, then I think you'll be fine, and I think maybe that's something that OpTic is struggling with, the pacing situation, given that, yeah, okay, Scump and TJ may be great SMGs in theory, but, you know, and Dashy, of course, is a really fast-paced player, fantastic player, you know, we've said it all before, but can Crim and Karma keep up with the pace of those guys, especially when the game is moving faster and faster paced? Difficult to say. Gen.G certainly can, eUnited certainly can, FaZe Clan certainly can as well, and these guys are a little bit of a different story because Asim and Zuma aren't like powerhouse SMGs, at least in the current meta, but they set up very, very nicely for the rest of their team. So I wonder if this can be a formula for success, to be honest, because right now we're seeing that teams with the really dominant SMGs, they are the stars of your team, the SMGs, whereas in FaZe, you know, Cellium, Scraps, Zero are really the stars of the team, at least that's how they set their team up. Zuma and Asim could be stars if they decided to play it a different way, I'm sure, but, you know, that's how they set up their team, that's how their roles work best, and, you know, they come third here. On Sunday they didn't look as competitive, but on the first couple of days they very much did. So I wonder what you guys think about the potential of 100 Thieves and Luminosity as well I was going to talk about, because yes, their powerhouses once again come in the assault rifles, and that's what I talked about when these guys formed. I think I went off on a little bit of a tangent earlier, but what I was trying to say was that yes, when they first formed, I talked about with the SMG meta coming into play, Formal Bracken Skies, the ARs, Slacked and John are the weak links on the SMGs, and if the SMGs are increasingly important, then maybe you've got a problem there, and I think we kind of saw when Slacked and John slowed down this weekend and didn't have the best series, that's when even with all these powerhouses on your assault rifles, they can get beaten. So those were just some thoughts to put out there for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, leave all your thoughts on this in the comment section below. What is the recipe to success in the current meta? I think it's great SMGs and it's fast pace on the rest of your team. And I think OpTic will struggle for that. And I think 100 Thieves might struggle for that as well, because Priest is fantastic, but if Enable isn't frying, I think right now Enable needs to fry for 100 Thieves to win the World Championship. If it's him getting a 0.8, the rest of his team, I don't think in this current meta that will be enough, to be honest. I don't think that having your ARs go off is enough of a recipe for success. Now the meta has changed. You really need your SMGs to step up big time. And I think 100 Thieves may struggle to do that consistently. So I think maybe they'll go back to the drawing board and make some changes and see exactly what they can do. Maybe they'll think about how they can make Kenny play a little bit faster or how exactly it's going to go. And I think this issue is a pervasive one. The most interesting situation to me is that FaZe don't have this setup like Reciprocity, like Gen.G, like eUnited have, where, you know, these teams, their SMGs are the powerhouses. FaZe Clan have a different setup where they set up around their assault rifles, even though their assault rifles play very, very quickly in a very high pace. So I think maybe that is the balancing factor that keeps FaZe being a very competitive team. But yeah, as I said, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you next time.